You're watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.
Today we're talking about a skill that can make or break any business, or any business owner for that matter, how you communicate your value. Joining me now is Dr. Forbes Riley. I know that you know this young lady. She's known as the Queen of Pitch. She's a globally recognized entrepreneur, media personality, and communications strategist who has generated more than $2 billion, that's right, with a B, billion, in product sales, a 3-time best-selling author and TEDx speaker, and 197 infomercials to her credit, and more than 30 years of on-air experience as both a host and guest expert on QVC and Home Shopping Network. Forbes has spent decades mastering the art of turning a message into results. In her upcoming new book, Pitch Secrets A to Z, she breaks down the framework behind her billion-dollar career. Forbes, great to have you on. I've been a fan from afar, watching you over the years, pitching away, and I said, man, if I could just have 10% of her energy and her ability to communicate with the public, I'll do okay. So here we are.
I think you're doing more than okay, and that was such a lovely interview. Oh my goodness, what an introduction. I sound really impressive, don't I? Well, but you know what the cool thing is? My kids are most impressive because I just did a School of Hard Knocks video, one video, 11 million views on Instagram, 15 million on TikTok. So
good
now, after all of these years, I'm a star.
So now you are very cool with your kids if you're reaching those kinds of numbers on social media, right? And if it doesn't happen on social media, then maybe it didn't really happen after all, right?
You know, you and I have certainly, and anyone who's watching who's over a certain age, maybe over the age of 30, one of the biggest things I think to rewind is you guys grew up with me. You don't realize it. I was in your bedroom late at night. Don't tell your spouse. But that's what infomercials were.
Of course.
We would knock on your door at 1 a.m. and make you buy a Jacqueline juicer, a Montel Williams blender, Billy Mays, George Foreman. I was in all of those.
I know. I watched them. I think I bought most of them as well. So they were great. They really were. And so let's talk a little bit about Pitch Secrets A to Z. It focuses on communication. There's the book right there. We're also showing it on the screen as well. Why do you say that success often comes down to more to the pitch than the product? Talk to us about that.
Oh my gosh, I don't care what. Well, because did you buy a Snuggie? I mean, think about it. You got a blanket with armholes. Who needs that? Who needs a Chia Pet?
But it
Who
looks so comfortable.
No, but here's the thing. We made you believe that because of the quality of the pitch. So if you're listening to this, it doesn't really matter what kind of product you have. Everything needs to be communicated. And you start a pitch, the moment you shake somebody's hand at an event, they say, what do you do? And most times people will throw up on you. Well, I do this, I do that, I've got this credential, and you're like, back off.
Right.
Here's the secret. Stop telling people what they need and get them to want what you have.
Good point. Good point.
And when you do, well, because you never bought anything that you needed. So if you say, well, you need my new vitamin. No, but if you say, hey, I notice at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you ever get sluggish? Well, I've got this new amazing drink, no calories, all energy, and it makes you feel wonderful. You're like, oh, I want that. I promise when you get somebody in front of you saying, I want it, you got a credit card.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And I think in many cases, entrepreneurs do struggle with this, to clearly explain what they do, right? I mean, you've just mentioned a few of them, but are there any other mistakes that come to mind that small business owners and business owners in general will make when they're trying to communicate their value?
Any mistakes? Can I share something with you? I've now been teaching an online class, and I'm going to offer this to your audience for free on Sunday nights. I go live for 2 hours because there's a whole ton of mistakes that are keeping you from your future. Yeah, it's called pitchsecretstraining.com, completely free. I've shown up every Sunday since COVID because a whole lot of mistakes. For example, when someone asks you, what do you do? And hopefully you get that question all day because you're going to networking events, people are curious. People don't care what you do. They care what you can do for them.
Right.
So if you go out and people say, so what do you do? What do you say?
Yeah.
You say, I'm in news. We're like, good for you. But if you did say, hey, you know what? I run an amazing podcast that puts entrepreneurs and business people in front of their audience. Oh, wow. When is it? Where is it? And all of a sudden people are curious. This curiosity factor is something most entrepreneurs don't do. They literally just want to tell you, I've got this new product. It does this and it does that. And you're like, I don't need that.
Right.
And so you get no's. The second thing entrepreneurs need to remember is become a no collector. See, no to me stands for never-ending opportunity. I've never heard a no that I didn't love. And here's a big secret, especially when you're pitching ideas, maybe you're pitching it to your producers, you're going to hear somebody goes, no, here's my secret. Say thank you.
Yeah.
It's a disruptive thing. People are like, wait, thank you for a no? It's like, yeah, thank you. And then you pause for a second, you go, hey, and if it was going to be a yes, what would you need from me?
Oh, I like that. That's nice.
See?
They're,
Right?
they're almost giving you the map to close them.
85% of the time, they'll
Yeah.
go, well, if you only did that, and you're like, well, oh, I offer that. Bingo, there's a deal.
That's right. That's right.
And-
That's a great
yeah.
approach. I never thought about that. And I've been around sales very, lot of years. And that's a great way to come back.
Thank you very much. I will tell you. And then the other thing that I want entrepreneurs to do is fall in love with your story. The worst part of your life turns out to be the best part of your pitch. So I have a formula. It's an 8-step formula called the Ultimate Pitch Formula.
Okay.
And I developed this because when you go, see, you don't have to sell anything right now. You just have to be an adorable interviewer, and you are. Oh, did I say adorable? It's probably sexist. Look at you guys, you grinned. But you don't have to sell something. When I would go on TV like this, I had to sell $2,000 to $5,000 a minute, every minute you're on the air.
Oh my gosh, really?
Right.
Wow.
So I created this formula because there's no guessing in my game. If you don't do that, you're out. And I was there for 35 plus years in 5 different countries.
Oh my God.
And so step by step, and I'll play a game with you. One of the steps is called assumptions.
Okay.
So you walk out, and so maybe you and I are doing a product, and it's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Who do you think your audience is?
I would think it would be stay-at-home moms.
Okay, how about 5 different audiences? Stay-at-home moms, somebody who's got an illness, somebody who lost a job, somebody who's taking care of their elderly parents.
Sure.
And I would look at all of those categories and talk to them.
Okay.
Now I'd have to go on at 2 a.m. in the morning. The audience is different.
Yes,
It's people
absolutely.
who can't sleep,
That's
who
right.
have a night. Right. Most people never make assumptions about another person, and they pitch each other like we're cardboard. Hi, I have a product, Forbes. Can I pitch you?
Sure.
It is that.
Sure.
And you're like,
Yep.
talk to them. Be human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it takes to connect, right? You've got to understand your audience or the customer that you're dealing with at any given time. And
Now I'm sorry, I'm going to just work with you. Here's something
no,
really
I was
interesting.
just going to say you created what you call the elevator pitch 2.0. What does that mean? How talk to us about that?
Well, my elevator pitch got me a speech in front of 10,000 people.
Wow.
And so that is how you quickly, if you're in an elevator with somebody that you want to do business with,
Sure.
I'll just fast forward because I have that little training, but things you don't want to do. Most people go, oh my God, I love your work. You're so wonderful. And by the time you're busy praising them, the elevator's doors open and they leave.
That's a great point.
Right?
That's right.
So I walked up to businessman Grant Cardone in a hallway,
Yep.
and I used my pitch, and I literally walked right up to his wife. Why did I do that? Because I walk up to you in front of your wife's going to go, what?
Yeah.
So I walked up to Miss Elena, who's beautiful, and I said, hey,
Yep.
I grossed $2.5 billion doing infomercials. I think your husband would be great. Can we make him another $1 billion?
There you go.
He looked at him and said, you need to meet this girl.
That's right.
Well, that's the ideal introduction, you guys. I said the same thing to him. He's a very smart man and said, you know what? Let's meet. We met, and he put me on stage at his 10X conference in front of 10,000 people. Wow. I gave one of the biggest speeches I've ever done, and I gave it about pitching because here's what I want all you to understand. We're talking business, and business, it's important in business, right?
Sure.
The A and the B in this book are more personal development than they are business, because I don't want a perfect pitch from you. You know what I want? I want you to be the perfect pitcher.
Yeah.
I want you to be so flexible that you really care about the person and you have a solution to somebody's problem. I think rather than tell somebody what you do, be the solution to their problem.
Yeah. And bringing that out, you now suddenly have their attention, right? Otherwise, you're beating yourself on the chest the whole time and saying how great you are. But to your point, if you've got a solution to their problems, they're going to be engaged immediately, right?
It works all the time. Do you have children?
Yes.
Did you ever want them to clean their room?
Yes.
Did they ever not do that?
Absolutely.
And there might have been a little bit of elevated voices. Well, I grew up in a household. I am the daughter of second-generation immigrants who like to be very vocal. And if you don't clean your room, you don't get dessert. Okay, thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
I was 42 when I had my twins, and I decided I wasn't going to do that. I was going to create a pitch scenario. So pitching is all about getting a yes. Watch how I'm going to get a yes. Do you want to see something cool?
Yes.
I just got a yes. Guys, you get a couple of yeses.
You just got it.
So I know that sounds crazy.
It works very
that's
quickly,
how I,
by the way.
Oh, I don't waste time. I'm gonna radically. I don't have a lot of time left on this planet. I'm gonna change millions of lives because if you can communicate.
You've also got a line about that. It goes something like, "I only live one life, so I'm going to make the most of it," or something like that. That's great.
The truth is, I don't know if you live more than once, but if you live once right, once is enough.
That's what it is. I love it.
And I've collected a lot of these over the years. I've also had great mentors, from Les Brown, who's a local Atlanta boy, to I lived with Jack LaLanne for a long time. I just celebrated his wife's 100th birthday.
Oh my
I have a
God.
lot of things
Jack
that I
wanted
think,
to live to be 100.
I know he did. I know
Oh.
he did. He died at 96, and I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
But his wife made it, and I don't want to cry, but Mark Wahlberg is going to play him in a movie next year.
Oh, wow. That's going to be
And-
awesome. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very, very excited about that whole world.
Yeah.
But get back to our kids. How do you pitch?
Yeah.
You pitch when you want a spouse to take out the garbage. You pitch when you want your kids to clean their room, and here's how I did it. If the secret to life is getting a yes, then ask the right questions.
Right.
I asked a question of you, and you said yes instantly.
Yeah.
I would say to my kids, I figured out what they wanted. I said, you guys, I've got a warm chocolate chip cookie in the oven. Do you want that? Yes, mommy. They're both going yes. When somebody's in the state of yes, they're very receptive.
Yes.
Then I would say, do you also want me to play with you, no cell phone after dinner? Yes, mommy. Great. You guys, if you want that, and I know you do, yes, we do. I need to see your floor cleaned. They're racing upstairs, happy.
I love
they
it.
clean it because they're getting what they want.
Sure.
And I truly believe at the end of the day, so many of us struggle to get what we want.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know my backstory, but I was a little girl. I had a really misshapen jaw, and I had braces for 8 years of my life. I was always had bright silver, but I also had this thing screwed into my mouth called a tongue thruster. For 2 years, I couldn't talk like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you imagine? It was. I had no friends.
Wow.
My parents were my best friends because nobody could understand me.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
I know.
That's
Can
tough.
you imagine your kids not being able to talk for 2 years?
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
It changes something in you. It's
Yeah.
why I hear life differently.
Sure.
And I also think that you're the sum of the obstacles you overcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of the day, would I love you to be able to pitch? Absolutely. Do I want you to see that the book is like you had noticed? It's in full color. It looks a little bit like a magazine because my life is not black and white. It
love
is
it.
full color.
I love it.
And I've had a chance. I gave Kim Kardashian her start in television. She did an infomercial. I'm here with Serena and Tony Little and Wolfgang Puck. I'm the least famous person in my own book.
That's the royalty of infomercials right there.
Right?
That's right.
And we have a lot to celebrate. Hey, guys, here's the deal. I'm going to do a free party to celebrate this book when people go to pitchsecretsbook.com.
Right.
And I'm going to celebrate all the people who came before us, who literally created the map of how you sell. And now with TikTok and Instagram Live, anybody. Now, let me share this. There's no excuse to be broke. Broke is a mindset. And I address that
agree.
with letter
I
A
agree.
and B.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And you also need your own product. I would love to just hug all my entrepreneurs going, stop making your own product. If you want to start, do like I did. For 25 years, I did not have my own product. I pitched other people's products.
Sure.
But when you do that, you learn the skill of pitching, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get good at it and they will pay you affiliate commissions.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a good skill to have.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question about it. And oftentimes it's not even about the product. It's about the enthusiasm and the message from the messenger, right? That can oftentimes sell that product. And many times, well, as you know, the people will get so wrapped up in your pitch and your presentation and your enthusiasm. It comes natural for you, as it does a lot of people. But they get so wrapped up, they go ahead and order it, and then it sits on the floor. They never even use it, right? Because they got wrapped up. Well, I mean, obviously, we want them to use the product, but that just goes to show you how important the art of communication really is, right?
Well, to your point, so when you go on Home Shopping, they have a thing called a Today Special where you're on for 24 hours. And I took on my fitness product. I have a handheld fitness product called a Spin Gym.
Sure.
And I took it on. And to your point, I got people so excited. In one day, I sold $1 million worth of Spin Gyms.
Unbelievable. Wow.
64,000 flew out the door because it was a good presentation. And because if you can solve somebody's problem, here's a great question for you. When you go to buy a bottle of water in the grocery store, how much does it cost you?
No, it's a couple of bucks now. It's $2, $3, $4, $5.
Well, yeah, but if you buy a bunch of them, you can probably get it down for $1.
Then it's down to 12 cents a piece.
All right, but would you pay $10 for a bottle of water?
Do I or have I? Absolutely.
Well, but the only time that you would is when you want it. Let's imagine this. You show up late to a hotel.
Yep.
Everything's closed. It's 11:30 at night, and there's a little bottle of water saying, if you drink me, it's $10. And you're like,
right. That's right.
but it's a solution to a problem, so you don't even think about the price.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep. You just pick it up, and there it is on your bill. But you need that water so incredibly bad, you'd pay $20 if it was $20.
So isn't that interesting? So if you've got a product or a service that you're pitching, stop focusing on the price. When a person wants something, they're willing to pay whatever it is for it.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, that makes it different. See, I didn't grow up with any money. My dad was in the hospital for 3 years when I was a kid. And I've always had to use my ingenuity.
Yeah.
And that's been my entire life. And I love that I get to teach that now. Do you know, remember I told you that thing on Sunday? Do you know that I have 1,000 people every week who show up live?
Wow, that's
Listen
fantastic.
to,
That's fantastic.
yeah, I've taught over 107,000 people. And here's something you might enjoy. How old are your kids?
They're 42 all the way down to 26. We
All
have
right, well,
five kids.
You had kids for 20 years, dude. You were doing something right. I did it once. I'm very efficient. I had one set of twins when I was 42. They are now 23 years old, and I'm in business with them. My daughter is my boss. Yeah, she came downstairs one day during COVID and said, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, Facebook? I couldn't understand the internet thing.
Yeah.
And she had already been doing it. She'd been in business since she was 12 years old. She'd been making money online. In
Just
fact,
like
she's
her
a
mom.
guest. Well, yeah, but she was a little better. She literally showed me this bank account, and I'm like, how did you get all that money? She's like, Mom, I work for all your famous friends. I build their websites. I build their landing pages. And wait, no, get this. You're the only one who doesn't believe in me. And I'm like,
wow.
oh, back up. I just want you to get a B in English. I
Wow,
can't.
yeah. Isn't that
And
something?
she said, now get this. She said, if I don't make you $1 million in the first year, you don't have to work with me.
Wow.
I'm like,
Where's she getting this from? Wow.
right. Well, between me and her dad and just, she's an amazing kid.
Sure.
And we started this company, and literally the very first night that we were in business, I had this $1,000 product. I teach live, guys. I teach the lowest price of anybody in my industry because I don't have to work anymore. Yeah. I've made a really good living. I charge just enough to get people committed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does.
And here's the crazy thing. She's not going to college.
Yeah.
She was 17 when she said this. And the first night we did one of these online webinars, I talked about what I do. I taught, I gave value. And then I said, hey guys, who wants to come work with me for 4 weeks?
Sure.
The next morning I go to look at our bank account, and there'd always been zero in that account because I never sold anything.
Yeah.
The next morning I had to call her and say, McKenna, what does the K stand for? She said, what do you mean, Mommy? I said, it says we have 25K in the account. I sold everybody in that room. I did that 4 times in a row. We made our first 100,000, 6-figure business in 4 weeks. And 9 months later, we're walking across the stage getting what's called a 2 Comma Club, $1 million award.
Wow, that is fantastic. Congratulations on that. That's amazing. And how cool is it to work with your kids? We work with our kids here at the company, and listen, it's got its ups and downs, but for the most part, it's really, really cool to be able to work with your adult kids, for sure.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people can ever say that. I think that's one of the things, as a role model or in social media now, what I'm doing, and I would love you guys to go to my Instagram page. We are making some really funny videos.
Yes.
It's the dream of all dreams.
Yeah.
I lost my parents right before my kids were born. 9/11 happened, and my brother-in-law is a fireman in New York City, and all of our fireman friends died that day.
Oh, geez.
So I will share with you, I've been through some high highs, and I think if you're listening to this, high highs and low lows.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade that. My mom was very even. She just didn't want anyone to bother her. She was very like this. And I said, Mom, I want more out of life.
Yeah.
And so when you risk things, you risk failure.
Yeah,
Here's the best part of failure. That's where you learn your best lessons.
That's right. No, there's no such thing as failure. There's really only success and lessons, right?
But see, you know that.
Yeah.
If you embrace that concept. So many people here's the thing, I've now coached over 100,000 people. I've heard stories all over the place. It is one of the reasons, guys, that's what this book is the way it is. Every chapter, there's 26 chapters, is really short. And so you know what can you guess what A stands for?
No.
Oh, no, you can. Come on, you know your ABCs. Come on, what A stand for?
Apple.
Apple. No, in my case, the tree doesn't grow far from the apple. That's my daughter and me. You know what? I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to make your listeners want, because I did this on Facebook Live the other day.
Right.
And I had everybody guess attitude, action,
Attitude. Yes. There you go.
Well, but I didn't tell people what it was. So I'm going to share with you. You want to see what they are, because let me go back. You are the pitcher. And so if you come to your business with an angry going, well, I was always bullied and I didn't do well in school, we don't need to know that right now.
Yeah.
You're well out of high school.
Yeah.
You are your own person.
That's
and
right.
you are the story that you tell yourself, and people perceive you by the stories you tell them.
Right.
I just want, I don't want people to struggle anymore. I really don't.
I love it. We highly recommend it. Actually, we're going to make it very easy for everybody that's watching Forbes right now. Right below the video that you're watching, there's a link to take you right over to get your copy of the book. You all know me. We have a great audience of entrepreneurs and business owners. This is a book that you absolutely need and to read, and also take her advice. If you aren't convinced now that this is maybe one of the world's best people out there, then I don't know what to tell you. There's no hope for you. But there is hope for you. It lies in that book. And really, Forbes Riley, we want to thank you so much for coming on. This has just been a treat for me because, as I said in the beginning, I've been a fan of yours, and I love your enthusiasm and your desire to succeed that comes through in everything that you do. And I think that so many entrepreneurs and business leaders, business owners out there can get so much from just being in with you on these broadcasts and the work that you're doing, and also to pick up the book. I mean, this is going to be obviously another #1 best-selling book. It's Pitch Secrets, A to Z. Who doesn't need to be a great pitch person out there for themselves and their company? So Forbes Riley, thank you so much once again for joining us on the show. Very much appreciated. Love to have you back to see how things are going.
I'm going to be doing a tour. The book is in bookstores. I'm going to be in New Jersey on May 17th, and I'm coming down the coast back home to Tampa.
Oh, wow.
Atlanta is right there. So if you're serious about that,
we are so serious. We want you in the studio here. We would
because I want to spin gym with you. I want to make you sweat on air.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.